Howdy folks, Jason here with another review. I'm going to be talking about episode 7 of Andor on Disney+. I am going to be talking spoilers, so if spoilers aren't your thing and you haven't seen episode 7 of Andor, hop in that escape pod and head over to Disney Plus to check it out. Otherwise, if you've seen the episode or spoilers don't matter to you, that's your spoiler warning. Let's dive right in. So picking up where episode 6 left off, we get the aftermath of the heist on Aldhani. And one of the big things we find is that the Empire is scrambling. We see this with the ISB meeting featuring a cameo from Admiral Yularen, which we know from Rebels. At this time, he's Colonel Yularen, and he's actually head of the ISB. Admiral Yularen is a firm believer in the cause. He was a believer in the Republic. He is a believer in the Empire. He is through and through a loyalist and will do whatever it takes to root out insurrection, to find any potential rebels within the ranks of the Empire, from the Senate and, even within the Imperial army. But as head of the ISB, he holds great authority. And it's interesting, we see a lot more of kind of what, Miro is trying to do. She's really trying to rise above the ranks in a predominantly male-dominated organization, as we see. And she's doing everything that she can to prove herself because, as I had mentioned before in previous reviews, she's like the canary in the coal mine. She sees what's happening. She sees these small incidents as not tiny, isolated incidents happening all across the galaxy. She sees them as pockets, the beginnings, the pockets of resistance that are accruing, that are building up. As she had said in a previous episode, that's how I would do it. Never climb the same fence twice. So she knows what's going on. She sees what's going on. And that is why her rival within the ISB was he kind of proved her point for him. The people of the Empire, they're so complacent and so bogged down and just they feel safe and secure in the bureaucracy that they're missing, key things like, an insurrection that's building, a rebellion that is gathering right under their noses. Cassian, of course, continues his idea of kind of going on the run, kind of getting away. He goes back home to Ferrix, which is not a good idea because now Ferrix is completely under Imperial control. And he tries to bring his mother and his droid B with him. But as his mom pointed out, she's staying there because of the rebellion. I mean, the Empire has tightened its grip on the system, and they've tightened it even more so than before. The boot heel is just right on their throats, and and she's not just going to sit back and let it all happen. She's going to stand up and fight, as she had let her husband die. I thought that was an interesting thing, seeing the flashback of when Clem was hanged by the Empire, and also seeing Phase 2 clone troopers, or at least stormtroopers in Phase 2 armor, is also pretty cool, because that kind of shows you where in the timeline that all happened. I really like the Phase 2 clone trooper armor. But again, Cassian wants nothing to do with any of this. So he goes off to on the run, and winds up getting in trouble anyway. It doesn't matter how far you think you can go, the Empire's always there. And I thought it was interesting in that scene where he's on that, on that beach planet where he's trying to, he's just trying to hide away and just like live in peace. That they used the Imperial droids appeared. The same exact make and model of K2SO. We are not going to get K2SO this season. That has been already stated, but it was just nice to get that little nod to his character this early on. I'm really wondering how and when they're going to bring K2SO into the show. That'll be fun. But he gets arrested. He gets imprisoned for something he didn't do, which is funny because he didn't get imprisoned for the thing that he did do, which was assist in the heist on Aldhani. But now he's being thrown into an Imperial prison for 6 years. So that'll be, that's interesting. And then speaking of that heist on Aldhani, Mon Mothma is coming to Luthen because she knows Luthen had something to do with it. He's been looking for money, and this was the quickest way to do it. She's been trying to move funds from her family fortune, but she hasn't been able to because the Empire is pretty much blocking her at every turn. And it's interesting because she, in the beginning when we first saw it, she was like treating the Empire, looking at her as sort of a hindrance, keeping her from doing what she's trying to do. But what we find out is that she wants the Empire to look at her. She wants them to think she's a nuisance because they won't see what she's actually doing, that she's actually assisting in the formation of the rebellion. But Luthen doesn't have time for patience, and I mean, he doesn't have time to wait. He doesn't have time to wait on her to get that get those funds, so he accrued them himself. But I believe he's right in what he said, because her concerns, and yes, people are going to suffer. It's going to get hard. The Empire is going to crack down on everyone now, and that's the point. People have gotten so complacent within the Empire and under the Empire's rule that they just it just doesn't even matter to them anymore. And so something like the heist on the heist in Aldhani would create such a shift and cause the Empire to get so fearful of losing everything, because that's just the beginning. They're losing. They're getting scared. They're getting panicky. The Emperor is trying to tighten his grip again, and that's going to force people to wake up and to see what the Empire is really doing and what they need to do. They need to stand. They need to rise up, and they need to take out the Empire, and thus, igniting the spark that will as said in Rebels, will light a fire across the galaxy. But the problem he has is the loose end with Cassian, so he's going to be sending Vel out to do that. Now, here's the thing. There was so much in this episode, and everything just kind of, it was really... It was really, really cool. I mean, I really like this episode just because the pacing, everything just moves so quickly. Everything, you're going into so many directions at once. Even though there's very minimal action in this episode, I mean, just all the different places and all the different things. And of course, Cyril having to deal with his failure and trying to start over, but in a life that he clearly does not want, that is being forced upon him by his mother. So it's just, there's just so many things happening. This episode was amazing. I have to attest to the score, because the score is, it was more prevalent in this episode than any other episode, and it's just amazing. And I really, really like the fact that they used real sets, because just the visuals have gotten so, I don't know, you've gotten some of the best visual images. Like in every episode, there is just some stunning visual moment that you just sit back and go, man, this is such a beautiful show. I really enjoyed this episode a lot. And I can't wait to see what's going to happen moving forward. Unlike the other other 6 episodes, which clearly were setting up, arcs that were happening, it's not clear if this episode is doing that. And I think that's really interesting. It feels like a standard episode of a TV show, just to move the plot forward. So it'll be interesting to see how this all plays out in the weeks to come. We've still got 5 episodes left of the 12 episode first season. And I'm really excited to see where we go from here. But I want to know what you think. Let me know what you thought of this week's episode of Andor down in the comments. As for my verdict, I give this episode a 4.5 out of 5. I thought it was really good. But again, let me know what you thought. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe, click the notification bell to get updates on all my future videos. Follow me on Twitter at callmejsumner. That's J with a J-A-Y. Chat with me there about Andor, Star Wars, movies, anything you want. I'll be happy to talk to you. Thank you so much for watching, as always. I really, really do appreciate it. And until next time, may the Force be with you. Bye.